Hey, what's up everyone, I'm Andrew, and in this video we have Alienware M17x R3. So I got this laptop in a verge to bad cosmetic condition. The whole case has a pretty deep scratches and it's very sticky. The rubberish case has turned into a glue. And as well, the trackpad buttons and the keyboard are a bit sticky, even from the inside. When I try to turn on the laptop, the screen stays black, and in the background, I heard 8 beeps. The 8 beep code is a little bit weird on these machines. It can mean the GPU is dead, the display or the flex cable aren't good, or even the motherboard. I mean, a lot of things. But we will go one by one. So first, I took out the GPU. After I took out the GPU, the laptop started working. Now I cross over more tests, and this laptop is just fine. But the GPU has 2 problems. The first one, because of the damage in the corner, the GPU is in a short circuit. And the other problem is the GPU chip is dead. So in this case, the reball or reflow won't help. So for this laptop, I ordered a new GPU, a new GTX 580M. Actually, these GPUs are not new. They are selling as new, but most of them are used or refurbished. However, shopping something like this has its own risks. And unfortunately, today is very hard to find something really new for these machines. Anyway, I was so happy to get a GPU for this laptop. Carefully, I place a fresh thermal paste. I mount the GPU, and when I press the power button, and again, I got 8 beeps. In this case, the problem may come from the display. I remove the keyboard, and I disconnect the cable. I disconnect the whole display. But again, the same problem, 8 beeps. Well, now let's start with disassembling and do some reverse testing to find from where the problem is coming from. And while disassembling, a few words about this laptop. The Alienware M17x R3 is released back in 2011 and 2012. This model is also coming with many different specs and options. It's highly customizable to match almost any taste. The model that we are working right now is one of the better options of R3. It comes with Intel i7-2660QM CPU, and the GPU is GTX 580M. The original RAM is gone, and as well the discs. And the screen is a just normal high-quality Full HD. This is not a 3D screen. Many of these models were shipped with a 3D screen and NVIDIA 3D Vision compatible, which was pretty cool. and we are done with the basic disassembling. It's time for reverse testing. Now I will connect only the motherboard, and as well together with the CPU and the GPU and one RAM. Also, I will connect the display, the speakers and the power button. I press the power button and the motherboard has started. So basically we will test in reverse. All other parts are removed, but while testing we will add part by part. Later, I add a keyboard and I access the BIOS. And later I start returning part by part and doing the tests. I search for the hardware that was faulty. And after a pretty long testing, I found from where the problem is coming from. First, the GPU slot from the inside has some dirt, which is very unnoticeable. It's right here. And the second, I found a small screw, which does not belong to this laptop. And the screw was under the protection foil of the GPU slot. So basically, we have a dirty GPU slot and a short circuit from a screw. Fortunately, the screw hasn't caused some bigger problem. Sometimes the motherboard may burn from something like this. Now, after we know that all is good, let's move to more detailed disassembling. And here, except for removable parts, I have to remove some other parts that are not removable. I mean, because we're going to do something more in this video. So first I start with removable, like the electronics from the parts around, the card reader, the trackpad buttons, some other cables around, and etc. From the upper part, I will just remove the back or the top plastic case, and the rest of the parts like the screen, cables, and all I will leave to the front panel. So I'm not gonna remove the screen because the screen is already hermetically closed. Actually, if I remove the front glass, I will just let the dust to the inside and nothing else. And the last is removing the non-removable parts and plastics. I have done this because of making some modifications and fixing the scratches. However, we will return anything to its own place without affecting any quality. Just I will do some improvements. Now I'm done with disassembling. And let's move to cleaning. So first I will start with cleaning all the electronics, like the motherboard, the GPU, the other cables and electronics, and etc. Also, while cleaning, I always do check any part in case if need some additional repairs or to replace something. And to clean the electronics, I'm using 96% isopropyl alcohol, a few soft brushes, cotton buds, compressed air, and a few soft cleaning cloths. So just the regular things as always. Now let's take the keyboard. Cleaning the keyboard it's a bit different, and here as well needs attention. So first I will start with shaking the keyboard from the desk, but carefully, because to remove some dirt which is under the keys, so in this case the gravity will help us. After the dirt fall out much as possible, I done one brushing, and now to remove the other basic dirt around the keys. And later, using a 96% isopropyl alcohol and cotton buds, I clean each key separately, from all sides around. It's a bit longer process, but the end result it's always great. Also, because the keyboard was pretty nasty, I have to use a very soft fabric that can reach all the keys around, and a very small amount of alcohol as well. And after cleaning, the keyboard is shining like a new one. Now, let's move to the screen. So here, I clean the dust from the back side, using a brush only. Cleaning the front glass, it's going a little bit different. And here, I use a 96% isopropyl alcohol, but mixed with a glass cleaner, and a few soft cleaning cloths. And the front side is shining up again. But now let's move to the cooling fans. So here I will use soft brushes and 96% isopropyl alcohol. Also, cleaning the cooling fans must be done very carefully, because the fan blades are easy to break, especially the fan blades on the CPU cooling fan. And the both fans are looking good. And now let's move to washing. So I wash the heatsink from the board, the CPU and the GPU, and as well I wash the entire laptop case. And I wash the case because we are going to make some mud that will cover the scratches and make the laptop looks different and better from now. After I washed the case, I took some cutting tools and paper tape. And I start with taping the case and protecting some parts from getting painted. And the taping is done. Now, I took a deep black spray and I paint the whole case. But we're still far from done. After painting, I took 600 grit sandpaper, and using water, I start with sanding. This is a wet sanding, and it's kinda slow process. Also, it's best to be done outside or in a bathroom, because it's a real mess. The paint drops will be all around. But anyway, after this process, the painted surface will be like a glass smooth. Also, maybe the surface won't be ready after the first layer. This process may request several paint layers before going to the final paint or finish. On this laptop case, I need 2 layers on the top and the bottom parts. And I need 5 layers on the palm rest. I mean before I apply the 3rd or the 6th final layer. I know, this sounds a lot, but actually these layers are thin and also durable. The palm rest has a pretty deep scratches that I need to cover and as well make it durable. Also, this was a 3 days process because each layer needs between 4 and 6 hours to get fully dry. And then water sanding, then drying, and all over again. In the end, the final paint is very smooth and durable, and as well, no scratches. It's like a new case. After I apply the final and the smooth paint, I add one more layer, created from a small drops and dots. I have done this because I want to get some unique effect. So the light is reflected differently, and the case will look like some spaceship that has a fusion crust all over, like from entering the atmosphere. So it's some small details and some story and some meaning connected to this laptop. So again, I took a paper tape, but because I don't have a thinner tape, using a scalper, I cut the thinner parts from the tape. Now, let's create something weird, but also something unique. So, we have something like alien DNA. And to paint this DNA, I will use a darker spray, but also a glossy spray. Let's remove the tape and see the final result. And this is the final look. The darker and the glossy spray made the DNA different from the case. The DNA is always visible from all sides around, like a darker or lighter. Now let's do some upgrades. So here I will upgrade the RAM and the disk. The CPU is fine and the GPU as well. So the RAM will be 16 GB in total. However, later I can add 16 GB more in the slots under the keyboard. And the disk will be 1 TB Samsung 870 EVO. I will go with a single disk, and it's enough for this machine. And now to create two partitions like C and D. So the C will going to be for the Windows and some softwares, and the D is going to be for data and installing games. And we're almost done. After assembling, I continue with installing the Windows drivers, and some games. And as well, I have done one more shining up.
No, it goes like.
And after making all these changes, this is the final result.
So what, I wanna hang with my friends. So what, I wanna go out again. So what, I wanna write you a song. It's not my fault that you can't sing along. I try to keep it cool anyways. I try to stay away from mistakes. I'm making my way and I'm good on my own. Skipping the show cause it's all that I know. It goes like.
Now let's take a closer look. On this machine, I install Windows 11 Home. And yes, I use the license key from the Windows 7 Home Premium. Actually, the Windows 7 keys can be still used to activate the Windows 10 or Windows 11. This laptop isn't supported by Windows 11, but I got everything working well. The GTX 580M has DirectX 11 support and is working well without any problems, but using a Windows 10 drivers. The other drivers on the laptop are from Windows 10 and Windows 7 64-bit. But anyway, anything is working just fine. The great thing on this laptop is, this machine has a lot of ports to connect to the other hardware, like 3.5mm audio jack, USB 3.0 ports, HDMI port, mini display port, VGA port, LAN port, eSATA port, CD-ROM card reader, and etc. And everything is functional under the Windows 11. So all this is very experimental, and I'm really surprised that anything is working just well and without any problems. But now, while testing, something very unexpected has happened. The new GPU has died. A long story short, so I set up this laptop, and while that I listened to music on YouTube. And the screen just go black, but the sound keeps in the background, the music. So I thought the problem is coming from the driver. I restarted the laptop, and after that the laptop started just working normally, but only a few minutes only. Then I got a blue or the dark screen error connected with a GPU. So I just set up the whole laptop. I downloaded games for a whole day and it tested. But again, I formatted the laptop and installed the Windows 7. But right when I started with installing the NVIDIA drivers, the laptop freeze. And then I knew it. The GPU isn't good. That's why at the beginning I say, buying something like this is coming with a risk. So I tried to repair the card, we done reball, but no success. Anyway, let's continue. In normal conditions, this laptop is far better than we can expect. The footage that you're looking right now, I made it on Lenovo. With AMD Ryzen 7 4700U CPU and AMD Vega 8 graphics. So it's a newer laptop and has locks under medium settings. But before, when the GPU was still working, I played Crysis 3. I mean the same game, but under a higher settings, and I got a much better results. So it doesn't mean that this laptop is old and useless. This is a still very great machine. On the other side, this laptop has one great feature: HDMI Input, which means you can connect stuff through the HDMI, including game consoles like PlayStation or Xbox. So I connect my Xbox One S. I press Function and F8 button to activate the HDMI input, and I can use the laptop as a TV or display. And this is working under Windows 11, under Windows 10 or Windows 7. The image processing is so great. The image processing is without losing any details to the graphics. And also the laptop is using its own speakers from the audio. And when we are about the audio, the speakers on this laptop are providing incredibly good and clean audio. And one more thing, the battery on this laptop still keeps about 2 hours in use. This is a replacement battery and not the original one. Anyway, it's great that I have a working battery on this machine. Well, and this is all about this Alienware M17x R3. I know, it's an old laptop, but literally has more features than many new laptops, unfortunately. And unfortunately, I have no luck with the GPU. But I won't give up, and I will make this laptop fully working again. Well, I hope you enjoyed watching this video, and I hope this video will give ideas and inspiration to back some tech or some other stuff in function again, and create better environments. Also, if you like my video and my work, you can press the subscribe button. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.
Have you ever felt like you was on display? Every word you said just had to be explained. I guess my time's run out. It's just confusion. Confusion. Try to come down, but I know it's gonna take a while. So what? I wanna hang